Hello, my name is Ricardo Moncada. This is my midterm test for JAC 444. First question of the test asks to take input from the user, a series or a sequence of integers, and then to determine how many times that integer is being repeated and displaying it to the screen in increasing order. So in this program, I first declared and initialized a constant variable of initial size. Then I declared a scanner variable to take input. Then I request the user to enter in the integers from 1 to 1,000. What I did next was declare initialize an array with the size of the initial size of 10. Then I declared a variable to keep count of the number of integers being entered. There's also a Boolean flag to determine when 0 is entered, because after 0, the sequence is not going to be recording any more integers. In the while loop, while the Boolean flag is false, the integers will be inputted by the user and scanned in. There is a condition here that if the 0 is entered, then the Boolean flag will be true and it will break the loop. Next, I'm going to check if the array size maximum has been reached. If it has been reached, I have to dynamically resize the array. I increase the array size by 1, make a new array with the new size, copy the old array to the new array, then copy the new array to the old array that's newly sized. Then I will assign the integer to an array element, and I'll increment the size check. Next, this will trim the array to the actual number of elements entered before 0, creates a new array, it's the trimmed array, does an array copy. The new array is to record the number of occurrences of repeated numbers. This is the occurrence array. This is the for loop to record the number of occurrences of each number in the sequence. Then, depending if there is more than one of occurrences, then if there's more than one, then it'll be pluralized in the statement here, such as 5 occurs 2 times rather than when it only occurs 1 time, such as 4 occurs 1 time. Here's a run of the program. I will enter the integers in the example. Zero is entered, that means it's the end of the sequence. And it will print out to the screen, as in the example, in increasing order, the numbers and the number of occurrences for each number. I will run it again using a new set of numbers. Zero is entered. Remember, anything after 0 will not be recorded. So I'll try that as well. In increasing order they go. I'll do one more run. This time I've also added the capability to enter integers one at a time. Once 0 is entered, it'll break, and then it will list them out in increasing order. Question 2 asks to create a rectangle class, which is extended from the geometric shape class. It has 2 variables of double included inside of it, with default values of 3 and 4 for width and height. There is a empty constructor here, which will, when initialized, it will, when creating the object, it will create the default values for the geometric shape class as a superclass and use the default values for the width and the height. Here in this other constructor, we have the arguments of width and height, the color, the string, and the filled status. I will use the superclass and call that to get the color and the filled status, and then I will pass the width and the height to the class variables width and height, W and H. I also have 4 getter methods here. One of them is get width, get height, just returns the W and the H, the width and the height. Get perimeter does a calculation here, width and height plus added together times 2. And the get area, which is the width times the height. I have 2 setter classes here for setting the width and the height. They will accept 2 variables of double, one each, width and height, and we'll assign W and H to that. I also have an override method here for to string. It returns the rectangle width and the rectangle height. I also have some helper methods here. It's just numeric validation for width and height, and character validation for yes or no for if the is-filled status is true or false. Another helper here, it's a print line just for the tester program. In the tester program, I will create a no argument, use a new argument constructor to create a new rectangle object. I will run the program here and just go through it with you. Okay, new rectangle is created here using default values. It's been created. I'm going to test the accessor methods. All the getters are here. Get filled, get colored come from the geometric class shape. W and H, width and height, come from the rectangle class, as well as perimeter and area. I will test the mutator methods here on the no argument constructed object variable rectangle. It resets the width and the height to 2 new values here, as you can see. And then I checked again what the new width and height is using the accessor methods. Next, I'm testing the argument constructor. The argument constructor will ask for input validation using the input validation method to get the width and the height. Records the width and the height into local variables within the main method here. I'll also do the same for the color. And I'll also do a Boolean is filled variable for the validation for is filled, and I'll use that method I created, character validation, to get that. Here's a test of that constructor. Enter a width of 20, height of 10, color of red, and it is filled. Using the accessor methods on the newly constructed argument, new constructor argument object rectangle, it did record the width and the height, the red, the Boolean true, the perimeter is calculated, and the area as well. As well, I tested the mutator methods, the setters for the width and the height, reset the width and the height to new variables of 13.3, 6 to 10.6. Sorry, I had to do a correction there because I used the wrong rectangle object. So yeah, as you can see, is the mutator methods set the new mutation to 13.3 and 10.6 for the width and the height. It did access those, get those values. It's just been mutated or changed. 10.6, 13.3, height and width. Then I also tested the 2 string methods on both created rectangles. As you can see here, it did display the no argument constructed new width and height. Yeah, right here. And for the second one, 13.3 and 10.6. Next question is to create a class called align, which makes a GUI element here, a window. And I did this. First, I created that class and extended JFrame. I imported all the Java and the Java AWT and the Java Swing. I then created private components for the class of the buttons, the checkboxes, the labels, and the text fields. Then I created a constructor for this window here, for this object. I created two checkbox panels using flow layout and aligned them to the left, added them to them. These are separate panels. And then I combined the panels together using border layout to use the snap panel as the north and the show panel to the south, to the center here. Next, I did the same thing for the text fields, added labels to both of them. I also added dimensions for the text field size. And then I also combined the panels into one. Here we go. Did the same thing for the button panel, just like that. So it's all in one column here. Set the size for all of them. Added them. Next, I'll show you a run because it'll be easier to explain. I created a component frame that just holds all the components within the window here. And I also created a window frame to hold the component frame within it. And I think I did this just because I wanted to have a border on top here, and it was just the easiest way I could find to do it. So basically, it's the components within the window. And, I set the size, the title for all of them. And I centered that component window within the main window here. It's included an operation to close on exit, which is true. It does close, it ends the program. Do another run. When it runs, it does center the window using the set location relative to null. Just looking at the functionality here. Do one more run. And that's it. Thank you for watching my video.